Have you ever felt like your life is a constant race you can't win? Emails piling up, deadlines haunting you, and that quiet voice whispering, "You're not enough?" Long-term stress doesn't hit us like a sudden storm. It seeps in like a slow drip, day after day, until one morning we wake up exhausted, disconnected, and running on autopilot. But here's the paradox. The very thing we're chasing, control, stability, certainty, doesn't actually exist. Everything is in motion. Your thoughts, your emotions, your body, even the people you love, all of it changes moment by moment, and yet our minds cling. We grasp for permanence, resist what's unpleasant, and build entire stories around our fears. That resistance, not life itself, is the true source of suffering. What if freedom from stress wasn't about fixing your circumstances, but about changing your relationship with them? What if peace wasn't about doing more, but learning how to be, to meet life with clarity, compassion, and calm? That's exactly what Buddhist meditation offers. It's not about escaping reality. It's about opening to it fully, and in doing so, breaking the cycle of stress. Today, I want to take you on a journey, a guide to resilience and inner calm. Together, we'll explore how ancient wisdom and modern science meet, and how you can practice simple but powerful tools to free yourself from the grip of long-term stress. Stress doesn't always show up as one big dramatic event. More often, it sneaks into our lives quietly, like a constant background noise that never goes away. Think about it. The endless stream of emails, the pressure to perform at work, the feeling that you're always on. Over time, that state of hyper-alertness wires the mind into survival mode, a mode that was never meant to be permanent. The result? We live in a body that feels like it's always bracing for impact. But Buddhism offers us a different lens. Instead of asking, "How can I get rid of stress?" it asks, "What is stress made of?" The answer begins with a simple yet radical truth: impermanence. The Buddha called it anicca. Everything, our thoughts, our emotions, even the identities we cling to, is constantly shifting. Life is more like a flowing river than a frozen statue. The trouble is, our minds hate that. We crave stability, predictability. We want the good times to last forever, and we want the hard times to just disappear. When life doesn't cooperate, stress blossoms. Imagine losing a job. The pain isn't just about the paycheck. It's about the shattering of the illusion that things were supposed to stay the same. Here's where the practice of letting go comes in. And no, letting go doesn't mean giving up. It's not resignation. It's the conscious act of releasing the grip our mind has on what should be. One teacher compared it to emptying a cup. Only when the cup is emptied can it be filled again with fresh, clean water. When we let go, we create space for the next moment to arrive, unburdened by yesterday's weight. But if impermanence is the backdrop of stress, attachment is the trap we keep falling into. A difficult emotion arises, maybe anxiety. Instantly, our mind spins a story. "I'm a failure. I'll never get through this." That thought triggers the body. Your chest tightens, your heart races. Now the original spark of anxiety has exploded into a wildfire. What hurts us most isn't the feeling itself, but the belief in the story attached to it. Buddhist psychology teaches the mind is a thought machine. Its job is to generate endless narratives. Meditation doesn't shut the machine down. It simply teaches us not to buy every product rolling off its conveyor belt. To see thoughts as what they are: temporary, passing phenomena, a cloud floating across the sky, a song you hear for a moment, and then it's gone. For many people, especially in the thick of anxiety, this can sound impossible. That's why modern bridges are so valuable. Guided meditations, soothing affirmations, these can feel like a safe harbor in the storm. They give us a taste of stillness. And once that foothold is found, deeper practices of radical acceptance become possible. The kind of acceptance that doesn't just calm the storm, but teaches us how to dance in the rain. And science is catching up to this wisdom. Neuroscience shows that chronic stress keeps the brain locked in doing mode, constantly scanning, analyzing, worrying. Meditation shifts us into being mode, a state of relaxed awareness where the nervous system can reset. Brain scans even reveal that mindfulness reduces activity in the amygdala, the brain's alarm bell. That means our baseline stress lowers. We become less reactive, more resilient. Imagine getting that stressful email at work, and instead of spiraling into panic, you take a breath and respond with clarity. That's not just philosophy. That's biology being reshaped by practice. So the architecture of stress is built on illusions. The illusion that life should stay the same, the illusion that our thoughts are the truth. The path of Buddhist meditation invites us to see through these illusions, to release our grip, and to discover a mind that is not trapped by its own stories, but free to rest in clarity and calm. If understanding the architecture of stress gives us the why, then meditation practices give us the how. They are the tools that move this knowledge from theory into lived experience. And the foundation always begins with the same step: cultivating calm. The ground of calm, training attention through mindful awareness. Imagine your mind as a snow globe that's been shaken. Thoughts, emotions, to-do lists, all the glitter is flying around, clouding everything. Mindful awareness is the practice of setting that snow globe down, letting the particles slowly drift, and allowing clarity to return. The first step is posture. You don't need to sit cross-legged on a mountaintop. You can sit in a chair, feet on the floor, spine upright but not rigid, dignified yet relaxed, hands resting naturally. If you like, eyes closed. Already the body is signaling to the mind, we're safe. Next comes the anchor. Most people use the breath, not because it's magical, but because it's always here. Simply feel the air moving in and out. Notice the rise and fall of your belly, the coolness in your nostrils, the gentle expansion in your chest. The breath becomes a home base. And then the wandering begins. Thoughts about dinner, memories of yesterday's meeting, a random song lyric. Here's the secret. That's not failure. That is the practice. The mind wanders, you notice it wandered, and you gently escort it back to the breath. No judgment, no scolding, just kindness. Every return is like a bicep curl for your attention. Over time, that muscle grows stronger. One student once told his teacher, "I can't meditate, my mind never stops wandering." The teacher smiled and said, "Perfect, you'll have endless opportunities to practice coming back." That shift, from frustration to compassion, is where healing begins. Mindful awareness isn't about erasing thoughts, it's about building a friendly relationship with your own mind. The path of insight, vipassana, and seeing reality clearly. Once the ground of calm is established, we can expand the field. This is where vipassana, or insight meditation, comes in. Instead of focusing only on the breath, you open awareness to whatever arises in the present moment. Sounds, sensations, emotions, even thoughts themselves. A powerful technique here is noting. When a thought arises, you quietly label it thinking. When an itch appears, you note itching. When your mind drifts, you note wandering. You're not analyzing or suppressing. You're creating a subtle distance enough to see, this is happening right now. Over time, something profound is revealed. Impermanence, not as a philosophy, but as a direct experience. A thought comes, then goes. A pain arises, then fades. An emotion swells, then dissolves. You see over and over that everything is passing. And with that realization, the grip of clinging loosens. You stop fighting what comes and stop clutching what goes. The mind learns to rest in the flow. I once worked with someone who struggled deeply with panic attacks. Every time a wave of anxiety came, she thought, this will never end. Through vipassana, she began to watch the sensations rise and fall. The tightness in her chest, the racing heartbeat, the buzzing in her hands. She saw they were not permanent storms, but temporary weather. That insight transformed her relationship with anxiety from terror into tolerance, and eventually into trust. A menu of practices, different paths, same freedom. At this point, it's worth stepping back and seeing the variety of practices available, each designed to target stress in its own way. Mindful awareness, calm abiding, trains attention, interrupts the stress cycle, and grounds the mind in being mode. Vipassana, insight, builds deep wisdom, weakening the habit of clinging and aversion. Loving kindness, metta, cultivates compassion and counters the harsh voice of self-criticism. Body scan relaxes physical tension, reconnects us with the body, and prepares for rest. Intentional breathing regulates the nervous system directly, shifting us out of fight or flight. Think of them as instruments in an orchestra. Alone, each has its own beauty. Together, they create a symphony of resilience. And the best part, you don't need to master them all at once. You can start with whichever feels most accessible, then expand as your practice matures. Building the habit, gentle persistence. Of course, the challenge isn't understanding the practices, it's sticking with them. The modern mind wants quick fixes, instant results. Meditation works differently. It's more like planting a garden. You prepare the soil, plant seeds, water daily. At first, nothing seems to happen. But beneath the surface, roots are forming. One day, green shoots appear. With patience, a forest grows. This is why consistency matters more than duration. 5 minutes a day, done faithfully, will change your brain more than an occasional 1-hour session. It's like brushing your teeth, small daily hygiene for the mind. And here's the paradox. The more gently you approach it, the more powerful it becomes. If you force, you create tension. If you judge yourself, you add stress. But if you treat your practice like a kind friend, it naturally deepens. Over time, you'll notice the shift, not because life stops being stressful, but because you stop being controlled by stress. The science of practice. Modern research confirms what ancient teachers promised. Studies show that mindfulness training thickens the prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain responsible for decision-making and emotional regulation. It strengthens connections between the prefrontal cortex and the amygdala, meaning you're less likely to get hijacked by fear. One study even found that after just 8 weeks of regular mindfulness practice, participants reported lower levels of perceived stress and showed measurable changes in brain structure on MRI scans. This isn't just woo-woo spirituality, it's biology rewired by awareness. From inner stillness to outer resilience, the heart of these foundational practices is simple. Calm the mind, see clearly, and return again and again with kindness. What begins as a quiet practice on the cushion becomes a living strength in daily life. You walk into a tense meeting, but you carry the stillness of breath with you. You face a hard conversation, but you meet it with compassion instead of defensiveness. This is the real promise of Buddhist meditation. Not to escape the world, but to enter it with resilience, clarity, and a heart at ease. Stress doesn't just live in the mind, it lodges itself deep in the body and the heart. It shows up as tight shoulders, a clenched jaw, shallow breathing. It whispers through self-criticism, isolation, and that gnawing sense of, I'm not enough. Over time, the weight of long-term stress doesn't just exhaust us, it shapes how we see ourselves. Healing, then, must be more than mental clarity. It must touch both the body and the heart. Healing with compassion, the practice of loving kindness. One of the most powerful antidotes to chronic stress is compassion. Not just compassion for others, but compassion for ourselves. In Buddhist tradition, this practice is called metta, or loving kindness. It's not sentimental, and it's not about forcing yourself to feel positive. It's an intentional training of the heart. Here's how it begins. You sit quietly, and instead of focusing on the breath, you silently repeat gentle phrases to yourself. May I be happy. May I be well. May I be safe. May I be peaceful and at ease. At first, it might feel awkward, even fake. But over time, these words start to soften the harsh inner critic, the voice that fuels so much stress. One meditation teacher once shared how, as a child, he suffered from crippling panic attacks. No amount of distraction or denial helped. But when he combined calm, abiding meditation with compassion, the fear loosened its grip. By sending kindness inward, even to his terrified, anxious self, he discovered a freedom that no external achievement had ever given him. The practice then expands. After offering kindness to yourself, you extend it to someone who has supported you, a close friend or mentor. Then to a neutral person, maybe the barista at your local coffee shop. Eventually, you send kindness even to someone you find difficult. Finally, to all beings everywhere. Like ripples in a pond, the heart grows wider and wider. And what happens inside is profound. The nervous system shifts from threat to safety, from contraction to openness. Stress begins to dissolve in the warmth of compassion. Embodied freedom, releasing stress through the body. But healing the heart is only half the journey. Stress also anchors itself in the body, and without releasing it physically, we remain trapped in cycles of tension. 2 practices in particular can help free us. 1, the body scan. This practice is simple but profound. You lie down or sit comfortably and slowly move your attention through your body, part by part. You might notice tingling in your hands, warmth in your belly, or tightness in your shoulders. The key is not to judge or fix, just to notice. And when you encounter tension, you can gently breathe into it, inviting release. It's like turning on a light in a room you didn't know was cluttered. You suddenly see where stress has been hiding. Over time, the body scan teaches you to listen to your body's signals before they turn into bigger problems, to catch stress when it's still a whisper, not a scream. 2. Intentional breathing. Our breath is the remote control for the nervous system. Most of the time, stress hijacks it, making it shallow and fast. But when we consciously guide the breath, we flip the script. One simple method is to extend the exhale longer than the inhale. For instance, inhaling to a count of 4, exhaling to a count of 6. This signals safety to the body. A particularly effective technique is the 4-7-8 breath. Inhale for 4, hold for 7, exhale for 8. Done a few times, it can calm the nervous system and prepare the body for rest. People struggling with insomnia have found this to be a game changer. It tells the body, you can let go now, you're safe. The integration of heart and body. When we bring together loving kindness and embodied practices, something shifts. Self-criticism softens into self-care. Physical tension melts into relaxation. Instead of fighting our bodies and our emotions, we begin to befriend them. And in that friendship, resilience grows. Think of it this way. The mind is the captain of the ship, but the body and the heart are the crew. If the captain barks orders while ignoring the crew, the ship will run aground. But if the captain listens, cares, and guides with compassion, the ship sails smoothly, even through stormy waters. Healing the heart and body isn't a luxury. It's the foundation for true freedom from stress. Because once the body relaxes and the heart opens, the mind no longer needs to fight itself. It can finally rest in ease. If stress is born from clinging to permanence, to identities, to stories, then freedom is born from letting go. But here's the paradox. Letting go is one of the hardest skills we'll ever learn. Many people think letting go means resignation. If I let go, I'll lose everything I've worked for. I'll become passive. I'll stop caring. But in truth, letting go is not giving up. It's waking up. It's choosing to release the grip of what weighs us down so we can live with greater lightness and freedom. Think of it this way. Imagine holding a rope with all your strength. The rope is burning your hands, cutting into your skin. Every instinct says, hold on tighter. But what if freedom isn't in gripping harder, but in simply letting the rope drop? The pain ends the moment you release. Buddhist teachers describe this as the deepest art of spiritual life. We don't own anything. Not our jobs, our houses, even our bodies. Everything is borrowed, passing through our hands like sand. Joy doesn't come from possessing. It comes from our capacity to open, to love more fully, to walk gracefully with change. There's a haunting question often asked at the end of life. Did I learn to let go? Not did I achieve enough, not did I prove myself, but did I release what bound me, the grudges, the fears, the disappointments, and open myself to peace? One teacher once told the story of a parrot with a beautiful voice, trapped inside a cage. The bird wasn't held captive by the bars, but by its own fear of flying. Letting go, then, is like opening the cage door and daring to spread our wings. When we train in meditation, every moment of release, every time we loosen our grip on a thought, a memory, a fear, is rehearsal for this greater freedom. Slowly, gently, we learn that peace is not in controlling life, but in meeting it as it is. And in that simple act of surrender, stress loses its power. Meditation doesn't end when the bell rings or when you open your eyes. In fact, its real power is revealed in the hours after you leave the cushion. Formal practice is the training ground, but daily life is where resilience is truly tested. Integrating mindfulness off the cushion. Mindfulness can be practiced anywhere, anytime. You don't need incense, silence, or even a meditation app. You just need presence. Mindful listening. The next time someone speaks to you, pause your inner commentary. Don't plan your response. Just listen. Let their words land. Most of us crave this kind of attention, and when you offer it, relationships shift. Mindful walking. As you walk down the street, through the office, or in the park, notice the sensations of your feet touching the ground, the subtle rhythm of heel, sole, toe. Suddenly, walking becomes more than transportation. It becomes a meditation in motion. Mindful movement, yoga, tai chi, or simply stretching with awareness. These practices synchronize breath with body, creating a moving mindfulness that releases tension stored in muscles and joints. These micro moments don't seem like much, but sprinkle them throughout the day, And the doing mode of the mind is continually interrupted, making space for being mode. Calm is no longer confined to the cushion. It becomes a thread woven through your entire day. Navigating challenges with skill. Stressful moments will come, the harsh email, the traffic jam, the difficult conversation. But meditation gives you something invaluable, the pause. Imagine a stressful message pops up on your screen. Normally the reaction is instant, anger, panic, defensiveness. But with practice, you feel the surge rising, and then you breathe. In that single breath, you reclaim choice. You don't have to lash out. You don't have to collapse. You can respond skillfully. That tiny gap between stimulus and response, that's freedom. It's the difference between being a prisoner of stress and being its master. Rebuilding inner strength with positivity. Sometimes, especially after years of stress, our inner world feels like rubble. Self-confidence is shaky. Joy feels distant. This is where affirmations and guided practices can help. Now, affirmations are often misunderstood. They're not about denying reality with cheesy positivity. They're about retraining the mind to lean toward resilience. To say, I am capable, I am safe, I can begin again. Over time, these seeds rewire the brain, creating new habit loops that replace the old destructive ones. Pairing affirmations with meditation is like building a house on strong foundations. Awareness provides stability, and positivity rebuilds the spirit. Together, they give us the strength not just to cope, but to grow. A path to lasting freedom. The ultimate promise of Buddhist meditation isn't that life will become free of stress. That's impossible. The emails will still come, the body will still age, change will still unfold. But what does change is our relationship to it all. With practice, stress no longer owns us. We carry resilience like a shield, compassion like a compass, and wisdom like a light. We no longer live as captives of circumstances, but as free participants in life. Freedom isn't the absence of storms, it's learning how to walk calmly in the rain. So here we are. We've traveled through the architecture of stress, explored the practices that bring calm and clarity, touched the healing power of compassion, and discovered the art of letting go. And if there's one truth to carry with you, it's this. The goal is not a stress-free life. That doesn't exist. The storms will still come, but meditation gives us something far more valuable. Resilience, wisdom, and a heart that can meet life's waves with grace. Freedom isn't about controlling reality. It's about learning to be present with it. And when we do, stress loosens its grip, and peace becomes not a rare visitor, but a familiar home. So I'll leave you with this question. What could you let go of today? A worry, a story, a burden you no longer need to carry. Imagine the space that would open up if you did. If this message spoke to you, share it with someone who might need it. Leave a comment with your reflection, because together, when we choose presence, compassion, and letting go, we create a world that's a little freer, a little kinder, and a lot more alive.